Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Our topics today are electricity gone, food gone, and a must-see movie. You absolutely, positively must go see this movie. Okay, first of all, before we get started, yes, I'm doing Bible studies again, and I'm reminded by my staff, please tell them to click subscribe and also click the bell. That will help us reach more people because when there's more people subscribing, then the algorithm supposedly sends us out to more people. I think we're being shadow banned. It used to be that once in a while we'd have one jump up 35,000, 150,000 views. Now we don't get over 5,000. They have some kind of a glass ceiling set on us somehow. Anyway, Bible study this Friday night, live streaming. You can ask questions, although I seldom have time to jump over and read them or answer them, but I'm going to try to do better at that. Friday, 6:30 to 8 Central Standard Time, prophecyclub.com, Facebook, and also YouTube. And it's not just prophecy. We do something very unusual at our Bible study. We read the Bible. That's what we do. For an hour and a half, we read and study the Bible. That's what we do. That's pretty much all we do. And based upon the comments coming back, people are really liking it. A lot of people say, how can I find a church like yours in my area? And I say, I don't think there's a church out there. At least no one has told me that there's another church out there. Because see, ours is real unusual. At the Spirit of Prophecy Church, we just get a King James Bible. We read it, study it, and to a certain degree memorize it, and do our best to get all of the other congregation members to do the same. So that's a very, very unusual church these days. Read and study the King James Bible. Didn't used to be, but that's very unusual. And people don't like to go to those kind of churches anymore because they don't lift them up. They don't tell them what they want to hear. Matter of fact, every Sunday, Lord, what do you want to say to us today? Not what I want, not what the people want. What do you want to say to us? Matter of fact, I'll tell you a little deal. So you can go on and check live streaming this past Sunday. So just moments before I got up to start the sermon, Leslie had a word. And essentially the word was, God is able. The praise worship team was standing behind her still. And Brandon, one of the praise worship leader at the time, also repeated the words, God is able. The praise worship team walked off. Leslie's still standing there to pray for me. And I said, you just had a word for the church. And you used 3 words. And you said it 5 times, and then Brandon said it 1 time. What was that word? She said, God is able. I said, do you know what my sermon is on this Sunday? She said, no. So I clicked the slide, and it went to 3 words. God is able. And I said, so you can take that as a confirmation that this word is from God, and that this is what God wanted to preach this Sunday. And if you'll bump up to the week before that, you see something very similar to that, where Leslie's walking off, and I turn to her and say, do you know what my message is on? She says, no. Then she said, prayer. And the title of it was called Prayer Closet. So, yeah, I'd like to be able to tell you there's lots of churches like this out there. It's a real simple church. Get your King James Bible, read it, study it, follow it. But there's not. Instead, we're a nation that has fallen away. Matter of fact, I've been trying to find somebody someplace in America that will print me a Bible like I want. And best I can tell, they don't print Bibles in America anymore. India, Korea, Japan. Those are the places that print our Bibles, and in my opinion, they do a second to a third class job. So I'm looking for someone that will print me a good quality Bible with real cowhide. You know, we have cows in America. Why can't we have a cowhide on a Bible? Why? Because they don't print them in America anymore. Instead, they put this plastic stuff on the outside. Anyway, get me off on that. Let's go on to the topic. All right. Headline, Operation Dark Brandon. Never heard of it. Biden regime to ban gas generators, then unleash grid down attack on America. Over the past 2 months, we've all seen the CIA-directed corporate media and the CIA, which is another arm of the Molochs. Corporate media roll out stories claiming a power grid blackout is coming to America. Through predictive programming, they've also already cast blame for this event on, they say, right-wing extremists. It's us Christians. We're the problem. The Christians are the problem. The Bible is the King James Bible is the problem. A grid down false flag operation is being planned, indeed, but it will likely be carried out by the, probably shouldn't say those three letters. That'll catch the filter. But you know who I'm talking about, okay? And elements of the deep state in order to blame Christians. No group in America runs more terrorist operations than that alphabet agency. The same agency responsible for the attempted kidnapping of a governor, the attempted bombing of another place. I probably shouldn't say that either. So we don't have free speech in America anymore. Now comes news that the Biden administration plans to outlaw 95% of the gasoline generators sold at retail, ensuring that Americans have no access to backup generators when the power grid goes down. Here is actually how they're doing. A proposed Consumer Product Safety Commission limits the amount of carbon monoxide a product can emit. With the commission, see, that's how they're using climate change to take over the world, to bring in the Antichrist sitting on their throne. Climate change allows them to take away gasoline, allows them to take away our cars, allows them to take away crude oil, saying it is a fossil fuel. Well, crude oil is not a fossil fuel. One of these days I got to talk about that. We'll get to it. Widespread generator shortages are now happening because they're planning this all in the next 6 months. The Biden regime is revving up engineered power grid blackout while banning gas generators. Now, why do you suppose that is? Okay, let's think about that. Why would they want to take away our electrical power via the power grid and gas generators? Why would they want to do that? Why would evil people in high places want to see us get very uncomfortable? And grid goes down, there would be people dying. I mean, especially the old people that are on these various things that electricity runs that keeps them alive. Why would they want to do that? Because they want to force everybody to do their will. Okay, what's their will? They want to force everybody to take the mark of the beast, throw away their Bibles, so that no man might buy or sell save he had the mark of the name of the beast. Everything that you see, always ask yourself how it moves them toward their goal, if you want to understand what's really going on. Only through such extreme circumstances, and this is well worded, will most people surrender to the government authority and give up their liberties in exchange for the illusion of security. In other words, take away our electricity, and we'll do anything to get it back, including signing up to get our iris scanned, to get a world coin, a CBDC, a central bank digital currency, which will eventually be the mark of the beast. All commerce will grind to a halt and electronic payments no longer function. Forget about using debit cards, credit cards, food stamps. None of that works. The nation will be plunged into a financial chaos overnight, creating the perfect opportunity for central bankers to pull off a currency reset or a forced CBDC rollout that they may have already once they turn the lights out. In other words, it's all a big plan. Now, if you're new to Prophecy Club, you don't understand what I'm saying, I'm sorry. You just got to start doing, you got to start finding out what I'm talking about. Freeze the banks, halt the food supply, announce the emergency, then roll out the CBDCs. I'm going to say no. Roll out all of the pebbles that are leading up to the mark of the beast, the world government, worshiping the Antichrist. That's the goal. That's where they really want to go. All these other things are just stepping stones. Largest U.S. power grid declares emergency alert amid scorching heat. July 27th. Okay, this is just a couple of days ago by the time you watch this. A heat wave continues to blast the Midwest, Northeast, and South. Remember, they have a scalar wave. They can do this. They can make large areas of the atmosphere super hot, the water super hot, or the air super cold, tornadoes, floods, snowstorms, droughts. All of that is capable of scalar wave. Scalar wave probably took out the Thresher submarine back in the 60s, probably took out the Challenger, what was that, in the 70s, It can take out anything in the air, on the land, on the sea, under the sea, any place on the globe, anytime it wants to. It goes right through metal, right through water, right through rock, everything. And it leaves no trace. A heat wave continues to blast the Midwest, Northeast, and South through the end of the work week, forcing the largest U.S. grid operator to declare a level 1 emergency. Did you hear me? A level 1 emergency for Thursday, and tens of millions of people crank up their air conditioners to escape scorching temperatures as summer in the northern hemisphere peaks. They normally are running at maximum of 186,000 megawatts. They're expecting this to come very close to 153. In other words, it could go down. America's largest power grid facing worsening reliability risks? No, this is a different article on the same topic. But this one explains why. Here are the key highlights of a report that is forcing them to shut down a lot of the electrical generating stations. What? You mean the government would actually force the people that make our electricity to close the generating stations? That's correct. You got it. Here's the rule that does it. The growth rate of electrical demand is likely to continue to increase based upon this ruling they just passed. Thermal generators are retiring at a rapid rate. In other words, how they make electricity, they're retiring them. Why? Because of their climate change. They're causing climate change. Matter of fact, you want to know what's really causing climate change? You and me. People. That's the reason Kamala Harris just said what last week? Reduce the population. They told us their goals. We just aren't listening. We don't believe them. We don't believe the Georgia Guidestones, where they want to kill 11 out of every 12 people. They want to kill everyone that is not worshiping Lucifer. If you don't understand that, what's a nice way to say that? I don't know a nice way to say that. If you don't understand that the time is going to come when you will take the mark or you will deny Jesus, if you don't understand that, go read Revelation 13. That's the nicest, kindest way I can say it. You just need to get yourself informed. So I'm going to skip all the other things that might be offensive. Retirements are at a risk of outpacing the construction of new resources. What did they just say? They're retiring electrical generating stations faster than they can build them. Or more specifically, they're retiring them and simply not building new ones. PJM's internet connection queue is composed primarily of intermittent and limited duration resources. What's that saying? Here's the way we say that. They're turning off our ability to generate electricity, and they're not replacing it. For the first time in recent history, PJM could face decreasing reserve margins should these trends continue. What? What does that mean? Face decreasing reserve margins. In other words, we're going to face blackouts. We're going to face brownouts. I have a friend that lives in South Africa, and I tried to call her the other day. Couldn't get through. She says, well, electricity's off. Electricity's off. I said, electricity's off last time I called. You guys have electricity problems? She says, all the time. We have sometimes 1 or 2 hours a day, almost every day, with electricity's off. She said, I said, how'd that happen? She said, well, a few years back, the bad guys got in control and they started shutting down the electrical generating stations. Does that sound familiar? Sounds familiar to me. So, what do I recommend? I recommend that you go to solarsurge.net. Good friend of mine, Joe Ordia, he will take care of you. He will answer all your questions. He will help you get set up with some kind of an alternative to your grid, alternative to the electricity coming in through your meter. There's all kinds of things. Look, he's got something that will fit almost every budget. I want you to take one thing away. I don't want you to think that to get solar on your house, you would be spending more money. Instead, I want you to think the amount of money that you're currently spending on electricity Instead of spending it on electricity, you spend it over here on buying yourself a solar system. There's 3 basic systems. One, the very lowest priced one, is simply putting a few solar panels on your house. That helps. Secondly, is getting a solar system with a generator. So the grid goes down, generator kicks on. You can have that backed up by either natural gas or propane, or solar panels, electricity goes down, and you can also have a battery backup. Or all 3. Again, he can help you. Look, here's what you do. You'll send him your electrical bills for the last year. He plugs it into this special program. He says, okay, now, these are your options. Kind of like a plan A, this is really, really the nice system. Plan B, this is the middle grade system. Plan C, this is the lowest price system. He can help you get the very best system for you. And mention Prophecy Club, he'll treat you right. 13 nations agree to engineer global famine. What? 13 nations. This is what it's going to say. 13 nations have agreed to start stopping the production of food. Are you reading that right? That's exactly what they're talking about. They want to take away our food. Why? Okay, we already talked about they want to take away our electricity. We already talked about now they want to take away our food. Why? Because they say, look, if you want to have electricity, you got to take the mark. If you want to have food, if you want to eat, you got to take the mark. Now, it's not there yet, but we prophecy students understand. You will deny Jesus, or you will not have electricity. You will deny Jesus, or you won't be able to go to the doctor or the hospital. You won't be able to get water, food. You won't be able to get anything. You'll have to exist outside of the system. And for Americans, well, that's going to be the most difficult thing we've ever done, because we have the best system. We have been enjoying that system all of our lives. We don't want to lose it. And so for some people, denying Jesus is better than losing the system. That's where they're going. That's why they control everything. Did you know, for example, your dentist is controlled? What? Yep. He's a member of a dental association. And even though he's been to college, even though he's been practicing for 10, 20, 30 years, if the dental association does not say he can practice, he can't practice. Did you know that's the same with your medical physician? Did you know that's the same with the hospital? Did you know that's the same with the police? Did you know that's the same with about everything? Associations control everything. Your buying of gasoline, your buying of cars, they got control of it all. 13 nations agree to engineer a global famine by destroying agriculture. What? How can they destroy agriculture? Would you believe that they're actually spraying some places, killing it? Would you believe that they're also using scalar wave or other high technology to destroy our food? And then they're also, this is what this is about to say, they're passing laws telling farmers they can't grow. Oh, surely you're kidding. Now, surely I'm not. We're now being told by producing food is bad for the planet. To save the planet, that's what they say, climate change, globalists insist farms must be shut down across the globe. It's not a joke, okay? They're really doing this. Under the guise of reducing methane emissions, 13 nations have signed a pledge to engineer global famine by gutting the agricultural production and shutting down farms. Are you listening? I suggest you go to josephkitchen.com. I've said this many times. If you have not gone to josephkitchen.com, if you do not have yourself at least a year's worth of food, I'm trying to be nice here. So the nice way to put this is shame on you. Shame on you. If you're a prophecy student, you know this stuff is coming. Oh, but I don't have the money. Okay, well, what are you going to eat when you don't have anything to eat? I bet you will find the money. Get after it. Let's go on. So the nations that have agreed to do this are Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Burkina Faso, wherever that is, Chile, Czech Republic, Ecuador, Germany, Panama, Peru, Spain, Uruguay. Well, we don't care about them. Oh, but unfortunately, the United States is on the list. What? That's right. Your United States is going to start shutting down farmers. Imagine no meat production from Australia, Brazil, and the USA. This is the goal of the globalists. And they openly admit it's part of the climate change, which has been thoroughly exposed as a quack science hoax. By the way, as Luis Planas, Spain's Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries, and Food says, I'm glad to see the shared commitment by the international community to mitigate methane emissions from agriculture as a means to achieve the goals we signed for in the Paris Agreement on Climate Change. Wait a minute, I thought America didn't sign that. Well, I did too. I thought Trump canceled it. But apparently, somebody's gone behind our back. Why? Because if they can take away our... Remember Henry Kissinger said, he controls food, controls the people. He who controls energy controls whole continents. But he controls the money, can control the whole world. Why did he say that? Because they want to control everybody and force them so that no man might buy or sell save he had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Revelation 13:15. Go read it. While you're there, read the whole chapter. Food systems are responsible for 60% of the methane emissions. They think we're stupid. And the sad part is, so many people out there, I'm not going to say it, I'm going to be nice. She is saying that farming is destroying the planet, hence their demand to shut down farms. Kamala Harris recently, just last week, called for a reduction of population. The depopulation agenda is no longer a secret. They're openly talking about it and bragging about it. There's a bigger agenda to hurt children. Here's the movie I recommend. Tim Ballard of Sound of Freedom gives a chilling warning. The former DHS agent whose actions are at the core of Angel Studios' hit film Sound of Freedom. Leslie and I went to see it. And in my opinion, I think it is one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. Not only was it produced well, not only was the acting very, very good, not only was it Christian-based, but even more than that, I think it puts a finger on a really, really big, bad thing going on in America, and especially America, but even the world. So essentially, he told journalists something extremely troubling about the children being smuggled over the border with Mexico. There's a bigger agenda to hurt children in the name of liberating them. No, okay, see, that's watering it down. They're not trying to hurt children. They're trying to have sex with them. Dirty old men want to have sex with little bitty children, even babies. That's the hard thing they don't want to say. They don't want people to see this film because there's a bigger agenda to hurt. No, it's not hurt children. They want to have sex with them. Or they want to turn them into slaves. Matter of fact, Caviezel says that there's more slaves today than there was back when slavery was legal. I think we have to do something about it. And what do we do? Yeah, you can do all that stuff, call your congressman, or you can join Fast Gap, where we fast and we pray. Because the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, they're mighty through God of the pulling down strongholds. Our weapons are fasted prayer on our knees. Leftist efforts trending toward the overt sexualization of children in schools. They're sexualizing our children through sex education, giving them pornography. They're forcing this agenda, what? To make it okay for children to consent to having sex with adults. How does a child give sex to an adult or give consent for sex to an adult? A child doesn't even know what it is. So they don't know to say no. But they're about to find out. It's not pleasant. Sound of Freedom is an inspiring, this is talking about it, an inspiring story based upon true events that sheds light on the grim reality of child sex trafficking. It is the true story of a man who risks everything. This guy here, this is the picture. This is the guy that the whole movie is talking about. He was I believe it was a DHS agent. It'll tell here in a minute. Quit his job because the job wouldn't let him go overseas to track these sex traffickers down. So he quit his job to go overseas, found and saved at least one little girl. Turns out, according to the movie, He actually saved like 56 children. He came up with a big sting. Anyway, watch the movie. It is a true story of a man who risks everything to bring a ray of light and hope to the most hidden corners of our world. Seeking to save children chained in the dark, it is not just a movie. Sound of Freedom is a cinematic experience that stands ready to be part of a global movement for help end child sex trafficking. And I love the fact that it beat out the Indiana Jones movie, and there was another one too. I mean, it's like they held it back for 5 years. Wouldn't even let it come out. And by the way, Disney was one of the primary culprits trying to keep this movie from coming out. So says Jim Caviezel, if I'm pronouncing his name right. I recommend you go see the movie. Matter of fact, I'm going to make it an assignment. As a Christian, you need to go see this movie. It's a great movie. You'll be entertained by it. Several times I caught Leslie crying in it. I was able to hold back tears on this one. But several times I caught her crying. We're crying for the children. So many, and not just American. I mean, Jim Caviezel afterwards, or maybe it was one of the other interviews, he said while they were in Cartagena making the movie, he said just out on the street, people would come up and ask him if he wanted to have sex with a child. On the street, okay? So we're not trafficking sex with adults anymore. We're offering sex with children. Revelation 18, become the habitation of devils, the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean, hateful bird. That's America. So you ask yourself, why should God judge? Why should God send the Russians to destroy America? That's what he's done to Israel every time they got into the same position. God, except for they have an everlasting covenant. But America doesn't have that everlasting covenant, and so God is going to destroy America. Very few people will be left when he is done destroying it.
Today, we live in unsettling times. Have you ever wondered what you're going to do when food is no longer on the shelves? I'm Leslie, owner and founder of Joseph's Kitchen, and I want to show you how to make healthy, homemade, whole wheat bread for only a few $100s a year. At Joseph's Kitchen, our goal is to help you live a more healthy and prepared life. Our products are ready for everyday use, but are also designed for long-term storage. Whether you are looking to make healthy, homemade, whole wheat bread, or want to be sure your family is prepared, Joseph's Kitchen is pre-packaged to take all the guesswork out. We personally test each harvest to make sure you are getting the highest quality ingredients.
Are you and your family prepared for what may lie ahead? At Joseph's Kitchen, we are your farm-to-table alternative. Go to josephskitchen.com to order today. And be sure to use the promo code on screen to receive your free gift. Don't get caught unprepared. Go to josephskitchen.com now.
Terry Saka with CornerstoneAssetMetals.com. So what's going on in the world of finances? Why should they call today?
Well, China has laid out in a speech a few weeks ago exactly what they think of the United States. I haven't seen that in my 55 years. With China and Russia forming these reserve currencies, new reserve currency, we better be prepared because that dollar is going to be in deep trouble and we're going to need assets to protect us from it.
CornerstoneAssetMetals.com. Call them or go online, CornerstoneAssetMetals.com, or call them at 888-747-3309. 888-747-3309. When a nuclear device is detonated, the dust settles on everything. You breathe it, absorb it. You cannot stop it. And when you breathe it or absorb it, it floods your thyroid with bad iodine, killing your thyroid and killing you. But there is a solution. I just went out to my freezer. This is mine. I keep it out there. I've had it for several years. And it says, this is potassium iodate. As a matter of fact, I keep it in the freezer, and I keep them in a Ziploc bag, just like this. This is my personal supply we keep in the freezer. So there you go. Now, it's $30 a bottle. If you order 5 bottles, you get an extra bottle free. You need 1 bottle per exposure per person, and it has the instructions on it. But anyway, I would suggest you go to prophecyclub.com, and let me just tell you, We've only got 100 bottles. Now, we've already made plans to get another 1,000 bottles in, being this is coming up. Right now, we only have 100. So my suggestion is you get over to prophecyclub.com and you get your bottles ordered real quick. You might even be a part of the 100 that we have. And if not, then another week or so after that, we will get some more bottles, get it out to you. $30 a bottle, order 5 and get a 6th one free. Here it is, potassium iodate. Is your life worth $30? I mean, you may as well have it. I mean, spend $30. Spend $30. So you get a suitcase nuke in the area, something like that. Not worried. I am having another level 2. Level 2 School of the Watchmen's Conference, and I'm calling this a teacher's course. It's going to be September 15 and 16. You can go to prophecyclub.com, and it'll tell you all of the details about it. And it gives you all of the requirements. I'll let you read that online. However, the big question is you're going to be saying, well, what's the difference between level 1 and level 2? Well, lots. Level 1 was primarily reading through most of the book of Revelation and teaching it. That's not be level 2. Yes, we will do some reading, but this one is designed to make you a teacher of Bible prophecy, which, by the way, our office wants to know if you went through level 1 and if you have taught or have been invited to teach from the book of Revelation and you went through level 1, send me an email. I'd like to know that. I know there's been at least one. I think there's 2, maybe more. Anyway, I'd like to know. So level 2 is to teach you to the point to where you can be qualified to actually teach the book of Revelation. Now, I can tell you right up front, we're going to have a level 3, God willing. And in that one, I'm going to require people to memorize the book of Revelation to come to level 3. And so there's going to be 1 year's difference between level 2 and level 3. It took me a year to memorize it, so I figure it'll take you a year to memorize it. Some of you may even faster. So go to prophecyclub.com and it'll give you all the details, tells you all about some of the difficult questions and things like that we're going to cover in level 2. Level 2 is going to get you real close to being a qualified teacher of Revelation. But by the time you get through level 3, having memorized the book, pastor's going to listen to you. And that's where we're going with it.